Hello and welcome to the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Championship. It's the season opener and we're here at Brands Hatch. Now our grids have gotten even bigger from last year and Ali Bray Motorsports is having to look after 9 of our championship cars this time round. One of which being Ollie Allwood, who we all know is a season contender for a championship win. However, Will Blackwell Chambers is back to try and defend his championship title. Can he do it, especially with this many cars on the grid? We'll have to wait and find out. We're going to jump straight into race 1, so Andy, over to you.
Thanks very much, Lindsay. Well, the cars are about to line up on the grid ahead of the opening round here at Brands Hatch. John Langridge gets the first pole position of the season with Brian Trott alongside. Will Blackwell Chambers, the reigning champ, is third alongside Ollie Allwood, with Joe Wiggin making his debut fifth on the grid. Stuart Simmons alongside him. Ben Short, Adam Bessel, David Waters and Steve Foden round out the top 10. An interesting seventh row of the grid there. Martin Tolley and Adam Craig, the only two drivers in the field to have competed in every season of the championship. They are true veterans of the category and will be looking to move forward from there. It's a 31 car grid for the season opener. This is only half of the entry though. Once again we have A and B groups. If you finish at the back of the A group you'll be demoted to the B race later on, and vice versa. The top 5 finishers from the first B race, they will get promoted onto the A grid. You can only score maximum championship points though for winning an A race, so this is an important one. The season about to get underway here at Brands Hatch. The lights go out now and we are racing in 2019. Who gets to Paddock Hill Bend first? It will be John Langridge from pole position. Contact there between Ollie Allwood and Joe Wiggin getting stuck in straight away, and it wasn't a great start by Brian Trott. He's down to third already, with Blackwell Chambers jumping into second position on board with David Waters towards the back of the top 10 as he slides his way through Paddock for the first time. Langridge leads the way, Short in second place, third place for Brian Trott, lock up there for Stuart Simmons, and Joe Wiggin into the back of him as well. Welcome to the Mazda MX-5 Championship, Joe Wiggin, immediately trading paint with his other competitors, but that was a really impressive qualifying effort from the former BMW Compact Cup race winner, and he's immediately finding just how robust this racing gets. Stuart Simmons is now into the side of Ben Hansey. Simmons' rear bumper is hanging loose as well and in danger of falling off, and Joe Wiggin says, thanks very much, I will dive straight past the pair of you and gain 2 more places. So a robust opening half lap of the season, and it's not over yet. There's more pushing and shoving. Steve Foden getting stuck in there with the 107 car of Jake Bailey from 17th on the grid. Jake Bailey, the red and white car on the outside line, is really making forward progress. What would you expect though from a multiple race winner in the MX-5 Super Series last year? Across the line we go then at the end of an eventful opening lap of the season, and it is still side by side throughout the field. There is Jake Bailey on the outside line going in towards Paddock Hill Bend, on board with David Waters, who he is trying to go around the outside of, and I think Jake Bailey is going to do it, or is he? No, Waters holds onto the inside line. Andy's got his nose in front going towards Druids. Under the bridge they go, late as you dare on their brakes, but that was too late for Waters. He slides out wide, he's in the gravel, he's in the wall, and David Waters, unfortunately, in trying to defend that position, has overcooked it and found the barriers miraculously though. I think I was going to say he might be able to dig his way out of the gravel trap. That unfortunately may not be the case, and that could result in our first safety car of the season. Towards the back of the field, there's Matt Pollard trying desperately to get himself out of the relegation spots. The final 5 finishers, or as the case may be, the first 5 non-finishes from this A race will get demoted into race 2B. And I make the point that you can only score the maximum points for a victory for winning an A race. If you win the B race, you'll be classified officially something like 32nd, and you don't score as many points for that, needless to say. Across the line we go then, a whole stream of Mazda MX-5s as one, and this is what we love so much about this championship. The racing is so close right the way throughout the pack. Wherever you look there are battles going on, and some big names, actually relatively big names, struggling a little in this race. I caught a glimpse there of Martin Tolley, and there are troubles there for car number 54. Car number 54 is Marcus Bailey, who was running inside the top 10, but he's got a front bumper stuck under the front of his car. Now, I'm no Sherlock Holmes, but I do wonder whether or not that came from Stuart Simmons, because we saw he was trailing a rear bumper, and he wasn't that far in front of Marcus, so maybe the two are linked. We'll try and find out for you. At the head of the field, though, John Langridge, from pole position, is leading the way from the reigning champion, Will Blackwell Chambers. Ben Short making a move in the background, dives into 4th position, and he gains a place at the expense possibly of Ollie Allwood, that was, I think. But it's Langridge from Blackwell Chambers from Trott, the top 3. Short is 4th. It is Allwood down to 5th position as they start to pick up speed and settle into a rhythm here. Brian Trott dives to the inside though of the reigning champion, and I think that Brian is going to go through into second place. Yes, he is. Brian Trott had 8 podium finishes last year, but not 1 win. He already is seeing that he has an opportunity maybe to get a victory here. Hands out of the cockpit because of the yellow flags at Druids. That was Ben Short with some really good awareness there of what was going on, just letting the cars know behind him that he was going to slow down for the yellow flags and don't run into me or overtake me. As such, the positions stay the same, but Brian Trott into second place, looking for the victory here at the start of the season. John Langridge in front of him was twice a winner last year, and 11 times, remarkably, on the podium. But consistency will only get you so far in this championship, especially when you've got someone like Will Blackwell Chambers, who last year won 7 times, and out of the 24 A races was on the podium 16 times, was Blackwell Chambers. So consistency does work if you're also winning lots of championships at the same time, and that's why Blackwell Chambers came home the champion last year. But Brian Trott was 3rd in the points and John Langridge 4th, with Allwood 5th. So we did expect those drivers to be up there fighting for victories right from the word go. That is exactly the case here at Brands Hatch. Brian Trott immediately in the AB Motorsport car is latching onto the tail of John Langridge, the race leader. The Blink Motorsport prepared car runs a bit wide coming out of Druids, but Brian Trott doesn't really dare go to the outside at Graham Hill Bend, because Blackwell Chambers would then have an open invitation to get up the inside of him through the left-hander at Graham Hill Bend. So we sort of get this stalemate situation now where everyone's attacking but also trying to defend from the car behind them. If you go for a move and it doesn't work, especially in such a close pack as this, you're not going to lose one place, you're going to lose 2 or 3 probably. So you've got to calculate your moves carefully. Don't go for it unless you're fairly certain it's going to pay off. Back of the group there, Adam Bessel, the white and pale blue car, and Joe Wiggin in 7th place. So Wiggin, we saw him getting involved in a few bits of contact on the opening lap. He's the black and pink Mac Attack racing car that you can see sort of on his own in 7th place, with I think Stuart Simmons in 8th position. Joe Wiggin, will he be able to close in on that leading group of 6 on his own, or will the fact that he's lost the draft slow him down? Lots of bump drafting going on here. That's Jason Greytrex giving a shove up the inside line there towards Paddock Hill Bend. Jake Bailey loses a place therefore to Matt Luff, who was the recipient of the shove, which helped him in a straight line, maybe made him go a bit too quickly into the corner. There's Martin Tolley. Again, a stalwart of the series, as I said, one of the most experienced drivers in the championship, raced in at least one race in every season since this championship has existed, as Martin Tolley. He and Adam Craig the same in the number 29 car. Tolley having a slightly better run there is the yellow car of Adam Craig, the number 29 machine just behind. Simmons back up the inside of Jake Bailey, and that was a nice attempted move, but sorry, not Simmons, Jason Greytrex it is, isn't it? There are lots of red and white cars in this championship. Jake Bailey fends him off for now, but Jason Greytrex got a victory last year at the season finale at Donington Park. That was his only win of the year. He was 3 times on the podium, including that race. Not going to trouble the podium sitters here, but that car clearly quick in a straight line and benefiting from a draft there as well from Jake Bailey. But having overtaken Bailey a lap ago, Matt Luff has checked out from this group. Look at the way that there he is, Matt Luff, the white and purple car, pulling away rapidly from the group of cars behind. Bailey defends the inside, and Greytrex locks up, just avoids getting into the back of him, and steaming around the outside of everybody. That's car number 81, Sebastian Fisher, from 19th on the grid. Oh no, gets past Martin Tolley, but then hits Jason Greytrex. Now, did that damage the steering? It looked as though the front right wheel was pointing at a peculiar angle, but I think he may have got away with it. He gains 1 position, but he very nearly found himself heading for the scenery there, and Sebastian Fisher needs to try and keep it as clean as possible, otherwise you will start breaking steering arms, braking suspension, and getting in trouble with the clerk of the course as well. Back with John Langridge then, your race leader, Brian Trott, on his tail. We know Brian's good on the brakes into Paddock Hill Bend, and he goes for it again. That was a fabulous move from Brian Trott, and he's going to go through into the race lead, I think. John Langridge will be eager to try and hold on if he can, but if he does try and brave it out around the outside at Druids, that could open the door for others to come through as well. And Langridge, I think, sensibly closes the door, but I think he may have had a tag in the tail as he turned in. Well, you've got to be robust as you try and get back in line, for fear of getting freight trained by the whole field. On board with Lewis Cannon, started his first race of the season down in 22nd place, and diving up the inside of him looked to be the number 44 car of Yoshihiro Ito, and I think Ito probably went through there. So it's Trott from Langridge at the front of the field. Can Trott get away? Unlikely. We've seen over the years how close this racing is, and that's because the cars slipstream so well. It's almost impossible to break away from the pack. Ben Short is 3rd. Ollie Allwood is 4th now, so Blackwell Chambers has dropped down to 5th somewhere along the line, with Adam Bessel 6th. And Joe Wiggin is closing in on this group, isn't he? Because they're all dicing with each other and holding each other up. Joe Wiggin on his own in 7th position has actually been able to close in on them. So it's now 7 cars for the race lead. We're on board with the 2nd of the cars in this train. John Langridge turns through Druids corner, but well, Will Blackwell Chambers at the moment off the podium. He has won the last 6 A races here at Brands Hatch. He won all 3 last year and the year before in 2017. So Will Blackwell Chambers, a bit of a Brands Hatch expert, but things are not going to plan here. Here's the blue, white and green car in 5th position. Won the championship in that controversial and dramatic championship decider at Donington Park last year, where he came out on top of Sam Smith, who sadly got caught out by some oil in the final race, went off into the gravel trap. In fact, they both went off, as did most of the field, but Blackwell Chambers was able to rejoin, Sam Smith wasn't, and so Blackwell Chambers was able to take home the title, but his title defence not getting off to the greatest of starts here at Brands Hatch. He's still in the points though, in 5th position. Joe Wiggin there having a go up the inside of Adam Bessel, I think, as they all fanned out into various different lines into Paddock Hill Bend. Did it work? No, but they are side by side. I think Wiggin may have gone through initially and then run wide on the exit of the corner, and it looks as though Bessel will go back through. Let's look in the background. Yeah, the blue and white car still ahead of the black and pink. Joe Wiggin making his intentions known here in that 7th position, trying his best to pick his way through this group. He has the luxury at the moment, in a way. Although he's at the back of the group, that means he's under no pressure, so he can attack freely without fear of losing a position if it all goes wrong. So Joe Wiggin, watch for him to try and pick off Adam Bessel as soon as he can. Brian Trott, though, continues to lead the way. Langridge second, short third, then Allwood, Blackwell Chambers, Bessel and Wiggin, and Bessel a bit wide there in 6th place through clearways, so Wiggin will get in the tow, and because they've dropped back now slightly from the top 5, that means that Bessel won't get such an advantage from the slipstream, so this could be Wiggin's best opportunity. And Short, meanwhile, is attacking for 2nd place as John Langridge thinks about attacking for the race lead, but that was possibly more of a defensive move than an attacking one, but either way, the positions do not change for the time being. Trott continues to lead the way, with Langridge closing in, trying everything he can here to get the race lead away from Brian Trott. Joe Wiggin has got past Adam Bessel, look, in the background, so Wiggin into 6th place, and only a few car lengths behind the leading quintet, so within a lap or so, I reckon he's probably going to be with them. Through Surtees they go, this flat-out left-hander in these cars, and it's a very daunting corner, that fastest corner on the circuit. Then you've got to set the car up right for clearways and Clark Curve. Very easy to make a mistake through there and find yourself off the road, but they've all negotiated it clearly. On board now with Richard Wootton in the number 3 car. He also started outside of the top 20, but look at this, doesn't matter where you are, you've got plenty of people to play with. There's a big knot of cars just in front of him, and a few cars fairly close behind as well, and a move being made just in front. Can't quite pick out the numbers of those cars involved, but Richard Wootton will be looking to try and take advantage. I think it's Scott Leach behind him in the yellow and blue number 13 car, and these are all drivers trying to stay out of the relegation spots, so these are significant battles. It's the 44 car again, who we've spoken about already. That's Ito diving up the inside and taking a place away from Lewis Cannon, is that? Yes, Cannon will lose 2 positions potentially here as well, because Dave Turton's up the inside now in the blue number 30 car. Oh, and Scott Leach joining in the front as well. 3 into 1 won't go surely, something had to give, and I think it was Richard Wootton who gets a tag in the tail, and around he goes. Richard Wootton was doing his best to stay out of trouble there, and yes, rather exasperatedly the hand goes in the air, but unfortunately the assailant can't see him anymore. He's long gone. That was Richard Wootton. He was fair play to Richard, tried to stay out of everyone's way there. They were side by side inside of him. He was the man in the middle, and he backed off, tried to just get back into the line, and as he turned across, he turned into somebody, and unfortunately contact has sent him for a spin. He should be able to rejoin. Dave Turton then continues swapping through the gravel at clearways up the road. Got a 55 car in that group as well. That's Matt Pollard again. He's the white car there on the inside line trying to make a move. It doesn't work though through clearways. Head towards paddock once again, and you can see that if you're brave on the brakes, you really can make some good progress through Paddock Hill Bend. The 56 car there getting sideways though. That's Thomas Jenkins, the red machine that was dicing away with Matt Pollard there. Matt managed to take advantage of that. Yes, he did. So Matt Pollard, the white car, number 55, goes through. It looks as though that will put him out of the relegation spots, because although that looks like it's the back of the field, I think there are 1 or 2 stragglers who have had early issues. So if you're a non-finisher in this race, or if you're one of the first 5 non-finishers, that guarantees that you will be demoted for the later race. We check back in now with the Adam Craig car number 29. That's Seb Fisher in front of him, and in front of him is Jake Bailey still leading this queue, with Jason Greytrex at the back of this little quartet of cars. We're going to see a move attempted here by Seb Fisher. Well, no chance, because Jake Bailey's defending the inside line. Adam Craig tries the outside on the way in. I don't think that's going to work either. But with our leading group of 6, and it is a leading group of 6 now, because Joe Wiggin has caught up to the top 5. No change in the order since we last checked in with them. It's still Brian Trott from John Langridge from Ben Short, the top 3. They're dropping Adam Bessel slightly now in 4th position. Is Joe Wiggin going to be able to get any further up this group again, because they've dropped Bessel? He's under no pressure, but in fact right in front of him he sees Will Blackwell Chambers make a move on Oliver Allwood and goes through. So Blackwell Chambers, the champion from last year, gains a position at the expense of the man who was 5th in the points last year, Ollie Allwood. Allwood, though, is able to close the door before Joe Wiggin follows him through, and in fact he's going to try and fight back up the inside of Blackwell Chambers. That will not work, but watch for Wiggin. Wiggin's taken the much wider line into Paddock Hill Bend and will look for the switch back on the exit. He's going to go for it, and I think it's going to work. So another place gained by Joe Wiggin. He's got ahead of Ollie Allwood. That was a really, really good piece of racecraft. He read the situation well, saw that the two cars in front of him were going to hold each other up, and just took the nice high, wide and handsome line through Paddock Hill Bend, cut back to the late apex and carried all the speed in the world up Halewood Hill to move now into 5th position. So a top 5 is already on the cards here for Joe Wiggin's debut in the championship. Could he make the podium, I wonder? We've still got a few minutes to go in this race, and well, there are the podium runners. They're not that far in front of him. Brian Trott, your leader, but he drifts a bit wide there at Clearways, and I've noticed actually in the last lap or so, John Langridge starting to show his nose a little bit more, showing his intent to maybe wrestle this lead away from Brian Trott. Top 3 making a bit of a break now as a result of the battling going on behind, and Langridge weaving around this way and that, but Trott has that inside line covered all day long, and this time it's Ben Short in 3rd that takes the wide line into Paddock. Langridge sees that though and sensibly moves over to defend, so he's now defending rather than attacking. This will stack the whole field back up again, and yeah, before you know it, it's 6 cars for the lead once more. So they don't stay apart for long, do they, these Mazda MX-5 Championship drivers? And it's more fun this way as well. This is why we love watching this championship, and why every year the championship is so close, because look at this, we've got 6 or 7 drivers who are in contention for podium places in this race alone, and that will continue to be the order of the day, I think, throughout not only this weekend but the rest of the season. Brian Trott then heads this ultra-competitive field, arguably the most competitive field we've had for quite some time in the championship. Ben Short there, the man in 3rd place, only did a couple of rounds last year, but he did get himself that race victory in the final race at Donington Park. Let's hope that we can persuade Ben to stick around for a full season, because he's definitely championship material. So too, I think, could Joe Wiggin, that could apply to him as well, because he's into 5th place now as John Langridge. That was almost a very late lunge up the inside of Paddock Hill Bend, but I'm watching Joe Wiggin in 5th because he was sizing up the 4th place car, I think, as they went into Paddock that time. No change at the front, still Trott from Langridge. Down the hill, and yes, look at that, Wiggin up the inside of Blackwell Chambers. I thought that he was sizing Blackwell Chambers up, but Will has the inside for Graham Hill Bend. Could there be another switch back here though for Wiggin? Tries to get the over-under. He might get his nose up the inside, you know. Yes, he has. Joe Wiggin going for 4th place now, and he's got the inside line for Surtees, and Blackwell Chambers knows better than to run around the outside of that particular corner, and so Wiggin goes 4th now. This is phenomenal stuff from Joe Wiggin. I know that he has racing experience elsewhere, but it's the first appearance for Joe in this championship, and well, to be able to acclimatise himself so quickly to these lightweight, nimble, rear-wheel drive sports cars, that is rather different to anything he's raced in the past. The BMW Compact Cup car's a lot heavier, they've got a roof, he's raced in the Citroen C1 Challenge as well, which is completely different again, and unfortunately for Will Blackwell Chambers, things are going from bad to worse, because Ollie Allwood's gone past now into 5th place, so put Wiggin 4th, Allwood 5th, and the reigning champ, and 6-time reigning winner here at Brands Hatch, Will Blackwell Chambers, into 6th position. This was not in the script for Will Blackwell Chambers, and it's not what any of us predicted, I think, coming into the weekend. He has been quite literally impossible to beat here at Brands Hatch in recent years as Will, and now he's got 5 cars doing just that to him. At the head of the train though, look at the way that John Langridge is forcing Brian Trott to defend even into Surtees. That's not somewhere you usually see an overtaking move attempted. This is though at McLaren and Clearways. John Langridge thought about throwing it up the inside. Brian Trott seems to have it covered for the time being. Out onto the start-finish line again. They're running out of time now. John Langridge needs to get a move on if he's going to get the victory in this race, but Brian Trott so far has had an answer to everything that John Langridge has thrown at him. Onto the brakes at Paddock Hill Bend. Not close enough. Over the hump in the road. Trott doesn't feel the need to defend that time. There's a lot of dust in the air, telling me that someone's been off at Paddock. No sign of a car in the gravel track though, so whoever it was I think has rejoined. Through it again. Couldn't be any closer, but Joe Wiggin, driver of the race for me so far, can he get onto the podium? That's the question. He started the race from 5th, so certainly a podium would have been the target, but he was down in about 7th or 8th at the end of the opening lap. Oh, Allwood slow off Graham Hill Bend for some reason there, and so Blackwell Chambers thought about pulling alongside, but in the end decided not to. This is all just allowing the leading 3 to escape slightly. Yes, it is still just about a leading 3. I don't think Wiggin is really quite close enough to attack Ben Short for the time being. But if the leaders start to really trip over each other again, Wigan will be there in a flash. In fact, I think he's going to get there anyway. He's got the pace to close in on the leading three. Allwood and Blackwell Chambers holding each other up as well. They're fighting for 5th, and so the 2 blue and white cars becoming a bit detached now from what is fast becoming a quartet of cars fighting for the race leader. Brian Trott sideways through paddock that time. I don't know whether John Langridge got into the back of him. I don't think he did. I think Trott just got a bit sideways over the crest there. He's clearly struggling to fend them all off, but that's hardly surprising, really. He's been a very, very busy man in this race, and he has made that the widest Mazda MX-5 in existence to keep John Langridge at bay. It was a phenomenal move that Trott pulled on Langridge at paddock earlier on in the race, a move that Langridge has not been able to replicate. So Trott, excuse me, for now, doing everything he needs to, but this is going to be a long final couple of laps for Brian Trott if he's going to be able to hold on and take the first victory of the year. As I said, 8 times on the podium last year with Brian, didn't manage to lift the winner's trophy. Could today be the day that he manages to do it? Across the start-finish line they go again. John Langridge onto the final lap of the race, and Trott holds the inside line. Langridge sort of in the middle of the road because he's trying to attack and defend from Ben Short at the same time, and Joe Wigan is there with them as well. So it's 4 cars for the lead with less than a lap to go. They all sort of hug the white line down the inside, apart from Joe Wigan, who is going for 3rd place. Can't quite get it right round the outside at Druids. Had he been able to do that, he'd have had the inside line for Graham Hill Bend, but Ben Short was wise to it, carried enough speed through the right-hander to be in front for the left-hander, but that means that John Langridge is not really under any pressure now as they come towards Surtees for the final time. That could free him up to have a go for the race lead. There's traffic in front of them, but I don't think they're going to catch it before the flag. 2 more corners to go, and this is really the last overtaking opportunity, and I don't think Langridge is going to do it. He's in the slipstream there as they come out of the corner, takes a much wider line, carrying the speed onto the pit straight, but Brian Trott, with a phenomenal move to take the lead earlier on, is going, I think, to hang on. Yes, he is. Brian Trott wins the opening round of the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Championship. A fantastic race it was too, with John Langridge in 2nd position, Ben Short 3rd, with Joe Wigan, Ollie Allwood and Will Blackwell Chambers to round out the top 6. Adam Bessel was 7th, and look at the gap back then to Matt Luff in 8th, Stuart Simmons in 9th, and Steve Foden rounding out the top 10. Adam Craig was 11th ahead of Jason Greytrek, Seb Fisher, Jake Bailey and Martin Tolley, who dropped down to 15th by the end. Ben Hansey with a disappointing race in 16th as well. We had a couple of non-finishers. Dave Waters we saw have that moment at Paddock Hill Bend. We also lost, unfortunately, Will Hayden, whilst Ben Short, 3rd in the race, set the fastest lap. A really competitive start to the season though, and we've got 2 more A races still to come.
Ben, what a fantastic way to open a season, 3rd place.
Yeah, it was quite a good race. Didn't qualify that well because I didn't do any testing on Friday, so it was quite fun overtaking a couple of cars. But unfortunately, once I got to the front, it just became a bit of a train, and we were just driving around with the 3 of us really. I couldn't find anywhere to overtake, but did get fastest lap, so that's really good as well.
So obviously it's puts you in a good stint for tomorrow. You got any ideas of how you're going to fend tomorrow?
Yeah, so the guys and girls at BS Motorsport are working their magic on the car, and we couldn't unfortunately get hold of another rim protector, so we've had to take the other 3 off to get the balance back. But yeah, looking forward to tomorrow. It should be a good quick car.
Brilliant, we wish you the best of luck.
Cheers, mate.